Alrighty, here we are. Welcome everybody back. We are painting Volcanic Base for our Warhammer. Yes, we can see there. We got the base. We got the base going on, and we're going to try to paint and get that along a little bit. You kind of might have noticed something a little bit different. It ends up that we got our pegboard in. I mean, look at that. That turns out super nice. And we did some lamination. We got some oak kind of also in the background over here. You can see that. Definitely doing some upgrade action on that. So what we're going to end up doing is we took some time off, got the big pegboard up there. We've also been printing like a fiend for like doing our little paint racks, 3D printing these on our Creality K2 Plus, which is working out really good. I like it. I think I need to dial in the filament a little bit though with this. But they're coming out great, and as you can see over there, we've got a number of, got all the paints in there. We're printing out some more because we have more paints and things. Yeah, one addiction for another. That's all we're doing. Had problems in one area, you're going to replace it with an addiction to something else. So this is going to be the thing, 3D printing and models and miniatures and painting, and see if we can get a Warhammer Tyranid to look out pretty good. With that, we also have, there is the printer. It is currently printing, and what I want to do is take a look at our Tyranid. So we're going to go into the print room here, and we're gonna take you in here, and we can take a look at our Tyranid. So there is our Tyranid. Not sure how well of a picture we can get, but that is going to be our Tyranid. So I'm going to guess this is kind of a good angle. So that has been printed, is primed, and it is. How's that turn out? Oh, that looks good. That looks good. Let's see if we can zoom in on this a little bit more. So that is our Tyranid. We did a gray filler primer, and this is a white on top of that. Kind of mimic a zenithal type of thing. So yeah, that's going to turn out, I think it'll turn out good. I don't know. We'll have to see. We did a Tyranid before. Matter of fact, I'm moving so much. Oh, he's up on the shelf. That's right. He came out really, really good. And I didn't like Tyranids before, but look at him. We even got the we got the strands going with the blood on there. I mean, he came out fantastic. So look at that. We even got the volcanic base on there. And yeah, he is a looker. He's a looker. And again, with the dangling little blood things, yeah, he turned out pretty damn good. The only thing I would do different on this is that I did high gloss varnish on everything, and I don't think I like that. I think I would leave the armor matte, and I would leave the body with a high gloss varnish. And that way it's just not everything's all shiny. I think that would create some a much better look, but yeah, it ends up really good. And then the volcano base turned out really nice. We did a good job on that. So yeah, that is the Tyranid. But we're going to do a different Tyranid style on the next one. And we kind of looked at a couple of different colors. So with that, matter of fact, I just so happen to have a couple of examples. There's two that we might do. We might do that one right there, where it's green body with black scales. I kind of like that, but he's got to be on a volcanic base. So light is red-ish type light is going to be shining up through his loins. So the other idea is to do this guy, and he's kind of like on a volcanic rock right there, but I think an orange or a red light coming up from down below, if we can get some of that lighting, object lighting source, whoozy stuff that, you know, really good people do, we might be able to do that. And I think that could look good. I don't know. Maybe this is too much of a pale. Maybe we could still go with kind of like a bone color on this and still have the black scales and things like that. I think that'll turn out really neat. And with the volcanic base, hell, we'll give it a shot and see what happens. But we're going to do the volcanic base right now. So what we're going to end up doing, and bear with me, because this is what we've got going on. Redid cameras, reset up everything. So I'm going to go to this here, and boom, there it is. We got that. We've got that going on there. And I think what I can end up doing is we can make this smaller, and we'll make this longer. And then I think I could just throw that right up there, and we can see what we're doing. Hey, we got Fallout Boy pops in and says, hey, I subbed and liked, but I hope you have a good day and good night. Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Definitely appreciate the subs and the like. And yeah, we're going to do more painting. And now that we've got things a little bit more organized, still have to put stuff away, find a place for stuff, and then get back to doing some models and painting. Trying to paint Warhammer stuff. I've done a number of small little Warhammer dudes. You know, this is like number one, the very first Warhammer Space Marine that I ever did. I think it turned out halfway decent. And I'm thinking about getting a Necron combat patrol. So if we do that and then learn how to play, because there's a local group here in Korea. For those of you who don't know, I'm an American expat here in Korea. Retired, and I got to find something to do. So Warhammer is going to be it. So we'll see how it goes. So we're going to jump over here to the desk. We're going to get these camera views on, what do we want? We want that? Or is it the other one? I think it's this one. And it'll go through some scenes and change points of view, so we'll see how that works out. So with that, we kind of went through. Oh, you know what I can do is I also have my tablet over here. And so if I get any comments, I can hopefully read them on my tablet thing. So we will see. I think I need to get a bigger tablet because it's hard to read the comments. And way better than me, says Fallout Boy. Well, I'm trying. That's not the view that I wanted. I think that's a desk view. Oh, that's the desk view. What we want is this here. We want the paint station view. Okay. Technical difficulties, go figure. Okay. Ta-da! So what we end up having here is our base. And if we take a look at that, we can see that we had a big base. So we 3D printed the base on the Crowley K2+. Then we added some cork. We also added some texture and stuff like that, and to kind of break things up. And then what we went through is with some white. I think it was titanium white from the Arteco paints. We added that, and before that we did a little bit of dry brushing. So I don't know how prevalent that is on camera, but you can end up seeing a little bit of the kind of the dry brush with like a bluish, darkish color, kind of gray. So it kind of brings out some details and breaking up all of that black. Let's see. I think we got another one here. So there's another character I ended up painting. Just kind of screwing around with some 3D printed stuff that I ended up doing. So that came out good. This one, not so much. Just kind of farting around and see what we can get with this. So I think it turned out, these are speed paints. So we use speed paints to do all these, and I think these turned out fairly well. And then prior to that, we did like this guy here. And he turned out very, very nice. So, still screwing around. I think that guy looks really nice. I like him. And then we did another one, which kind of a little bit more of a display type of guy, with the banner and the whole 9 yards. And we got some good details on him as well. So yeah, I think it turned out good. I think it turned out good. It did well. But now we're moving on to the Tyranid. So I think I forgot that we had done the dry brushing on this already. So it was kind of like, that's how long I've been away doing other things. So I think what we can end up doing is we can go through, and now the question is, are we going to use speed paints or are we going to use regular paints? I think what we can end up, or we also have airbrush paints that we could use and paint these on here as well. And I think for what we have on this, we're going to need some red, we're going to need some yellows, and we're going to need some orange. So, and these airbrush paints, you can use the airbrush paints as regular paints. The great thing about these is that you really don't need to water them down or thin them out, because they're already thinned down enough to be used in an airbrush. So I was pretty surprised about that. So we got pure red, Archangel red. Pure red will be good. And then we can get some different colors. Lava orange. We're definitely going to need some lava orange on that. And orange magma. We could try that. I don't know how many of these we're going to do. Molten orange. I don't think so. Maybe demonic yellow. And we can see how these all work out. If you're wondering what the noise is, it's my little vortex paint mixer thing here, because I haven't used these in a minute. So we're just going to run through this and we'll see how these work out. We'll work our way in, from out to in on this. So we'll put the darker reds, dark red on the outside, and towards the middle of the white river that we have there, we'll start moving into the oranges, and then we'll get the yellow, and we'll just see what happens. Hell, I don't know. This could work. If it doesn't, we can always just paint over it and do it again. Previously, what I've done with the other Tyranid is that I ended up just painting on the base and then sealed it in with some varnish, matte varnish. No, it was clear varnish, I think. And then, well, it's all clear, but gloss varnish with that, and then did the colors, and then put some crackle over it, and then that cracked up, and it turned out pretty decent. Not bad. So, man, that means a lot of shaking, a lot of shaking. Bye. Hope you get everything done, and I'll see you again. Okay, cool. Thank you, Fallout. I appreciate that. You're welcome back anytime. This isn't my normal streaming. Usually I do it in the morning because, like, it's almost 8 o'clock at night here in Korea. I should have prepped these before, but I didn't know if I was going to use regular paints or if I was going to use these, and I haven't used these in a minute. I've also got the Army Painter paints, and then I'll also have speed paints as well, so. I wasn't really planning this out too much, so forgive me for that. But, hey, it's live. What do you expect? We're just going to roll with it and see what happens. A demonic yellow, that is always a good color. And since we already did the dry brushing, we won't need that. I think we're good to go on that. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start off, we'll use our pure red. We'll go on the outsides and we'll see how this works. So we'll just do a little dab and we will see how these work out. Like I said, the great thing about these is that they're already pre-thinned for airbrushing. So you shouldn't need to go through and add thinner to these. And this is going to be, this is the front of the base, so this is the back. So we're going to start on the back and we'll see how this will look. So we're just going to start, we'll just try to get in the crevasses, the crevasse, and just kind of get in there and get this going. And the white, the good thing about the white is it'll really make these colors pop. And when we can get into those recesses, we can just kind of go up like that. And the whole idea is that closer to the rock formations on the edges, what we'll end up getting is kind of that cooling effect of that it's the darker the color, that means it's going to get cool. And then we'll kind of blend it in with the other colors. And yeah, we can just do a little bit of, just kind of like a little bit of brushing on there on some of these. And it's hard to tell what right there. Yeah, there we go. So kind of like that. And we'll just continue on. We'll just fill those crevices up and kind of poke that stuff in there. And again, the whole idea is we're going to use different layers of paint to replicate lava, with the hottest part of the lava being on the inside of the lava stream. We can just kind of brush that stuff and we can, and the same thing as we do the red on the outside, as we go up, we can also do a little bit of shading on there with the different colors. At least that's kind of the plan. I'm not a professional painter, so we'll see how it goes. And the thing about the white is really going to make colors pop, which is good, but on the black, you can actually see how the paint reacts to the black background. Just a little slight hint of a darker color. So yeah, this will be kind of a, and then if you screw up, just like I painted that big part up there, you just go through and we can just kind of brush that off a little bit and you're good to go. Worst case scenario, we got to go back and touch up some stuff. It's no big deal. And that's the cool thing about this, is that it's acrylic paint. It's not a big deal. So you can get pretty flexible. It's pretty forgiving. And like I said, the worst case it ends up is you just repaint the whole thing and start over. But it ends up, I don't think we're going to have to do that. At least we're going to try not to. This brush is getting horribly worn. But that's okay. Again, we're just kind of do the sides. I just hit a little bit on some of those areas, on some of the raised areas where you had some of the white hit, and so that way we kind of replicate the glow a little bit. And then we can also put in some other colors as well. So yeah, it should turn out pretty good. Is that it right there? Yeah. If the colors change from camera to camera, it's because it's two different cameras. So once I save enough nickels and dimes, I'll get a nicer second camera. So I'll get that going on. Again, we're just kind of going through. And tell me if the camera angles are any good. I mean, if you like the camera setup that we have, or the angles, or if you think maybe a top-down view would be another angle that would be good, put that in the comments. So when I get done with this video, I'll check those out. And of course, I'll watch the video as well, and we can see. Try to make it professional. Well, as professional as my budget will allow me. Let's put it that way. I don't have money for like a $3,000 camera to paint miniatures on. That's just not. That's not in the cards. So. And let's see some other stuff that's interesting. People have said that I do pretty good painting, which is, I appreciate the comments and everything, but I haven't been painting for long. I retired here in Korea, and I needed something to do besides going to the gym. And so I saw, we were in a hobby store, and I saw some Warhammer 40K figures. I was like, hey, I was in the military. I think that looks kind of cool. And so I watched an inordinate amount of YouTube videos. And next thing you know, I'm trying to learn how to paint. At the ripe old age of, 50-something. We just need just a tad more. And I always try to keep my paint bottles clean. That's the goal for the year, is to be clean and organized. So that is the goal for this year. So, and again, we can just come up with do some light brushing on some of these to kind of simulate a little bit of glow, that we can do just a hair on some of these things. And I think it'll come off good. So it's just kind of hitting those highlights there. Let's see, what camera view do we have? We have this camera view this time. I'm trying to figure out my left and right, so you can kind of see how we're drawn up on those sides, on especially like right in there or right in over here. So it kind of mimics like it's glowing up on the rocks on the sides a little bit. So that's kind of like what we're going for. So it'll kind of pique our attention. And then as we get some other colors, we can do that as well. Kind of throw those up there too. So some of those outcroppings, I guess you could call them. And we can always go back and change some stuff a little bit. And just some small details, just kind of trying to figure out like where the light would hit on some of these, and just put little dots of loving flow lava. And seeing how that'll work. So I think we're about painted out on that. So try to resurrect a little bit there. And we'll just kind of, the other thing you could end up doing is you can kind of blend some of this stuff a little bit, but we'll get to that. So I think we're good on the red. One of these days I'm going to get some good brushes, because I learned how to paint, but I didn't learn how to take care of my brushes that well. So now we're going to go to some Archangel Red. So it's got a little bit of orange in it. And we'll kind of go around the edges with this, kind of do the same thing. And that's a nice color orange that we got there. And I think I'm going to switch to this other brush. That one's just kind of, I got paint in the ferrule and it's just, yeah. So this one, now what we'll end up doing is we'll just kind of put some orange in there with a stripe next to the red. Just kind of put that in there. And we can kind of pat that in there a little bit. And just that slight color grade blend type of thing action that we got going there. Hopefully that'll work out. And we can just kind of, you can either paint it on or you can kind of stipple it on. That seems to be a good little thing to do. And so we can kind of blend in some of this orange. And the airbrush paints are they're pretty liquidy. So let's see, now we're starting to get some color in there. And we can just kind of brush some of this in there, stipple it in, and then with some of our other colors we can go through and add a little bit. But since this is so liquidy, I think it's turning out nice. I like that. And we're trying to leave a track for like the yellow. I don't know how much orange magma. I don't know. We might just go straight to yellow and to see how that'll turn out, because this orange is really kind of blending in there pretty good. So you can see how that turns out. That is turning out nice. I'm liking that. And with that little simulated glow that we got up on the walls, that's turning out pretty good. So that's kind of a more orange on this camera. This is like an EMIT 4K. I don't know if I like that much. Then in the same thing, we can just kind of put in a little bit of orange on some of these sides, a little bit. And especially with that white, we've got to just come in there and kind of hit those areas to fill in those white dots. So we'll stipple that in there, but we get that changing of the guard when it comes to the colors. So it kind of works to our advantage a little bit. But the little white areas we need to kind of hit a little bit. And especially up there. We got a bunch of it right there. So this is turning out nice. I like this already. I'm going to have to go through and fill in and stipple some of the other areas where there's those leftover marks. But just little bit of touch up here and there. It's turned out good. Let's see, a little bit there. Oh yeah, that's going to be good. Now this is, I got a lot of little white pieces in here, so that is going to be an interesting little thing that we got going on there. And for some of these sharp edges, you can just kind of like do like edge highlighting. So in other words, let's say if we have this and do edge highlighting, we will take our paintbrush, and at the side of the paint or the model, we're just going to run our brush right across, so we just have that thin line on there. So that's all we're doing, is we're not painting, trying to paint like this, because it just doesn't work for me. So you load up your brush and then you just bring it sideways, and that'll give you a pretty nice line. You know what? I don't like that camera angle, or that camera view. The one on the right side. So I'm going to get rid of that. I think we'll just stick with, I like that camera angle. I like that one. Not so much that one. I mean, that's okay, but I don't know. Seriously? I guess we could just keep it. We'll just keep it. Okay. We'll work out the details later. So, yeah. So that's what we're going to end up doing. And then, like I said, what we can do is go up and we can hit some of these areas. We still have some white on here, so we could hit that with either the orange. We got to go back and we'll do some red to cover those up. But we're looking pretty good. And yeah, we can just kind of just some little edging on there. Edging is good. Rimming is good. And we could even go back with some black and hit some of these areas that have got some white on them that are, and if we get too much, we can always just blot that. Again, it's just kind of get a blending of colors on there. And even over the red, we can do like an edge highlighting and just run our brush over. on top of that red a little bit, and we'll get some good color on there. There's a little one I need to get. And even this has turned out pretty good. I like it. So let's see. Let's switch to the other one. I think it's because I don't like this camera. I think it's like too orange. But and then the light. Maybe that's why I don't like it, is that the light is not really hitting that as well as it should. And everything's backward and reversed, and but you can kind of see what we got going on there. So let me switch to this one. I think I like this camera better. It seems to focus better. So that's what we end up having so far. And that light is in my eye. Okay, so we've done that. I think we can just skip some of the other orange and we can just go to the demonic yellow. And with the yellow, with the white, that will really make the yellow pop. So let us find out and we will see. Ooh, that is such a wonderful color. Vibrant, vibrant indeed. And here we go. Let's just hit some, since this is the back, we can just kind of lay this on. Oh yeah, that's going to be nice. And then with this, we can end up doing is just getting that center thing, the center line, and then what we can do is we can go back and we can kind of blend this in a bit with the yellow, with the other colors. And just do a little bit of touch up. And then stippling is always nice, because you can go in and you can stipple colors, and then that way you kind of break up some of the instead of just like a painted line, you could end up just kind of doing some stippling to bring in some variation. And other things we could end up doing, because we have a textured base on this, we have to go back from both directions to fill in the little pock marks of white a little bit, and boom. So that has turned out pretty good. That is looking like quite a nice volcanic base, and when we blend that in, it'll look even better, hopefully. That's the plan, anyway. And if we blend this stuff in, which will be interesting. Again, a little bit of stippling. Goes a long way. because then it's just not a painted line. And it's the little tiny details that you wouldn't think would make that much of a difference, but overall, it's all those little tiny details add up, and it can make the difference from being just like, to, you know, some pretty good stuff. So there, how does that look? Not too bad, I think. You got a little bit of glow on there. Oh yeah, I'm digging that. That'll be a fine looking base. So now if I wanted to go through, the other thing I could end up doing is I could take some more and like, this is the front of the base, this is the back, and so we could kind of draw some of these other colors in here to kind of blend that, if that's possible. You can kind of see that's what we got going on a little bit. And that will blend in some of that stuff. You might have to come in and with some more red. But for this little bit of blending, yeah, I think we'll have to go through with some, have to come in with some red. And then even after this, you could go through, if you had like a fluorescent yellow, you could end up doing that as well. I think we're going to need a little bit more red on this. And especially to get some of the white. We still have some white left on there. So for yellow, let's just put some high concentration of some yellow, just like down the center. And then the other thing we could end up doing is going through and doing some like black specks, because usually you'll see a lava flow. It's not just all the hot lava, but you'll have black specks on there. So we could come back and we could hit that up as well with stuff like that. And again, that'll just add some more depth, because that stuff will end up looking like the lava is cooling on the top, so that's why you have the black specks rolling down the lava. And what we can do, just, I don't know if we want to do that much yellow on there. We could just do, because the yellow is the hottest part, so I just want to be a little selective on adding like the yellow, and just not too many spots, like very minimal. So I think we're gonna look good there. I don't know, how's that look, folks? Does that look like a pretty decent lava base? Trying to figure out, there we go, maybe back here. It's like, seriously, I'm not sure. There we go. So I think it's turning out pretty good as far as that base. And it doesn't take long. It's just taken me long because I've had so many other things going on, and I'm like a squirrel. I see a nut and go after it, and then I see another one and I'll go do something else. So I get sidetracked easily. So, and with the Tyranid dude, that is going to be the interesting thing, in the fact that how am I going to do that Molten orange. What other reds do we have? Carmine red. Flesh. I think we're purple. Yeah, I think these are going to be the colors I got. But I also have some other ones. I could use like a darker red, even like this dragon red, which is even darker. So I could put that in the. Oh, let's do that. Yes. We'll give that a shot. And then, so in the crease where you have, kind of like you have the wall of the black rock, the black lava, and then and this is our lava flow, then right in that crease we'll put this dark red. And I think that will create some more depth to this. I want to make sure this is really, but that looks pretty darn good. I'm liking that already. It's just some of the white spots. In hindsight, I don't think I needed so much white in there because I can see little tiny pock marks of white. So I'm going to have to spend some time with a small brush and hitting those up. But, lesson learned. Okay, dragon red. Let's see what we got here. Oops, that is a lot of dragon red. Holy crow. Oh crap, seriously, really? The nozzle's a little clogged. I guess we're going to use a lot of dragon red. Okay. Oh, I like how that orange turned out. So now we'll just get right in those crevices with this darker red, and that should, okay, I'm digging that. I think we did a good thing, and especially right in those, up against that rock face, the lava face. I think that's going to be good. Like I said, worst case scenario, we learn a lesson and we don't do it again. Or it looks presentable and we'll say, hey, it's another tool in the toolbox. I really want to try to get in that crevasse. And so the more layers that we have, this is really going to help us out. And I think it'll help with that little deal of the cooler lava, which is a darker red. And then, of course, mixed with the other colors, we'll be able to see that. Again, we can just kind of do some stippling action there. Oh yeah, that's making a big difference. At least I think so. So deep rich red seems to work out well. some of these areas that are oh yeah, that's looking nice. That'll look good. So yeah, we could even stipple a little of this into that. Okay, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. But with that cork and the texture material, I've really left a lot of tiny little holes. And in some of those holes, I end up having those white in there. And so the white just stands out like, hey, look at me. It's like, oh, dang it. We can just kind of hit some of this stuff a little bit. Okay. Let's see, how are we looking there? Let's see how we got that. How that red seems kind of blown out on the video a little bit, but it's pretty darn close. And we can definitely see some of the texture and the gradient change on the different reds, which is really nice. And we did that. We just need to hit up some of those areas. The orange makes for a good glow color. I like that. I gotta remember that. So now we've got this big wall. So we'll see how kind of fill in the crack. Fill the crack in. Some of you young people don't know that joke. If you do, give yourself a thumbs up. And while you're at it, like and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate that. I'll try to fill those holes. Fill all of the holes on the model. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know what you're thinking about. Yeah. A little too much. I just scrape that away a little bit. I think this is turning out good. This is nice, nice. And again, just kind of can end up just kind of going through, and we can just kind of do some little tiny stipples, because again, we don't want the yellow to be like a perfectly yellow line through this. We want something to break it up just a hair. that'll be good. Again, just those tiny little details. And then we could go through and we can hit up some of the black, and we could do some black on here as well. And check that out. I think it's turning out pretty good there, huh? So again, like I said, what we ended up doing is we primed our base with black. We came back, I think in a previous video, I ended up saying that we ended up using like a gray, bluish type paint. I think it was like titanium blue and something like a gray. So we kind of mixed those together, so we got kind of a little bit of a bluish tint to that, and that way we can bring out the details. We could probably even go through and do an even lighter color to dry brush and kind of highlight, just hit the very tips to get some more stuff on that. So let's just kind of put a little bit of red in here on some of these edges, and then we can come through and then we can kind of hit that stuff up with some orange. I really like that orange, and a little bit of red orange coming in through there, and just tiny little specks of kind of a little bit of a glow, and we'll come back with a tiny bit of orange on that, and we'll see how that works. Wow, I think we're doing good, folks. Again, trying to see the light on where the light would hit on this, on some of this stuff, so we can just kind of get some little points of light on some of this. And of course we can go through with some orange and do the same thing, which the orange is pretty nice. That's a good color to do. So it really just gives that glow effect. Trying to see. I could always go through some black and kind of hit that up as well. So it's turned out pretty good, folks. I think we're doing good. So with that, we could go through and we can get some black, and we can kind of do some touch up, and then we can put the specks into our, it's gray. Dun. We've got some matte black. I don't know if we should use matte black or if we should use like the matte black with the Army Painter regular paints, the Mega Paint set. We'll see how it goes. There we go. Finally. Because we'll either do that one or we can do the matte black on this one here. I don't have any swatch caps, so I've got little caps on these that I could paint, and you could see the color and how that color would come out. I didn't have it for the airbrush paints, so I think I'll make some of those for the airbrush paint. And now, and I'm wondering, because this will be thinned out a little bit, and I don't know if we want it thinned out because it might run too much. Yeah, let's hold off on that. We're going to need a tiny, tiny brush, which is, I get this one here. And we'll check out our black. Ooh, seriously, really? Like premature. Because that happens as you get older. Holy crow. That's first. Man. Okay, alrighty. Shame on you. So now what we can end up doing is we can go through and we'll put some specks of black on there. So we can get a little bit of paint, and since that paint is pretty much, and we can just kind of go through, we'll start on the back here because it's the back, and we can kind of just kind of get some little, you know, stuff that's floating. And then we can kind of break up, because as it's towards the edge, you're going to have more of that cool lava, which can be black, and then we can have some specks floating in it. And we could go through and you could make some, paint some little some floaters, some floaties. And so that we got some of that kind of floating in there. And again, we can just kind of, which is funny because we just painted over all of the black. So, but we needed little floaties in here. See, oh, there we go. That camera's, and we're going to wait for the camera to, so you can see we can try to get some little specks in there to kind of break up all of that. And yeah, hopefully that'll look a little decent. see that. And we will keep going. We will keep going. We'll just kind of see where this takes us here. And even though we painted in that dark red, we kind of get in the side cracked area, so we can kind of throw in some of that there. Give it the next dimension. See how this turns out. And if you're just starting on getting into painting, like I said, I'm not a pro by any means whatsoever. And the last time I painted something before taking on this stuff, I think I was like 12, 13 years old. So yeah, it was kind of a thing. And even then, my painting back then was like, when I was 12 and 13, was the army truck is green, you know, the jet is gray. So really getting into this and painting stuff like this was, I had to start from scratch. I mean, like total scratch. So I watched an inordinate amount of YouTube videos, and that was just seeing all the work that a lot of people do. Holy crow, there's some incredible artists out there. And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. So, but don't get caught up in that, you know. You can do it. Oh, I'm old, and if I can do it, you know. And I think we can kind of, we got a lot of small dots on here. I just need to expand some of these. So we got a little bit larger specks, because they're not all going to be small. And then the other good thing is to look at pictures of lava and see what lava looks like in a lava flow. And yeah, it's kind of, that would be a good thing to do as well. So, and I think we're doing pretty good here. I think we got a pretty worthwhile looking lava flow here, ladies and gentlemen. And there we can end up seeing. I think it looks pretty decent. We'll go back and we'll do a little bit of orange to kind of get some more glow going on. And if I had some fluorescent orange, I think that would look pretty good as well. So I think we did pretty good on this, if I do say so myself. So black was a good call, regular one. Orange. That is Archangel Red. I want something a little bit more orangey, glowy. Like that lava orange. I think between that, I don't think we want that. The demonic yellow was good. Of course, reds were good as well. We'll do a couple different, we'll do this, what is that? Archangel Red, and we'll do this orange lava. And we can kind of do that on some of the sides higher up on the rocks to kind of make it look like a glow. And it should be all right. Oh, the other thing I can end up doing is I could take some of this black and I can kind of, any of these areas that I screwed up, got too much white on, I can just kind of fix that up a little bit. Areas where it shouldn't be, where the color's on the wrong side. We got some blatant white spots, and kind of black those out a little bit. That's where we screwed up some stuff. So, because I don't want all of that. And why is that like oozing of some sort? It's so real, it's starting to ooze. I don't know what that was. So, do we got any massively white areas that we need to get rid of? Some little white dots that we just went overboard with. And again, it's Just little tiny details, little tiny details. Just like the little tiny places where I just hit it with just a little bit too much. Because the glow isn't on top of the rock. So we can kind of clean up our little bit of mess there. So kind of like, if it ends up, I don't know if you can see this here, but see how we got a bunch of paint on the top there? We can go through and we can clean that up like that. So it'll be more on the edges, and we can clean this up and fix that. Because we just got a little bit too zealous. So as we look down, we can kind of see those areas where you wouldn't see that because the light doesn't, that's not how the light travels from the bottom up. So we just do some minor touch up. And then I got some other areas where I just got some little white that shines through. It's like, man, that stuff just shows up so, just like screams at you, hey. I think we're doing pretty good. Oh, there's a little white spot. A couple more. And I think we're almost there. So yeah, we're getting there. We are getting there. So we'll throw on, we cleaned some of that stuff up, so the view from the top, we're able to clean up some of the areas where I spilled paint or went over, because the glow is going to be from the bottom to the top. So when you look down on the top, you can really kind of see the areas where it's like, yeah, I screwed that pooch. So like I've got that big area right there. It's almost like you want to do the edge highlighting, but you don't want to get it on the flat surface. So the good thing is we can go back and we can fix that real easy. So now what we can end up doing is we can go back and we can use some of this orange. We'll do a little bit of this first. And then we're not going to need much of that. I'll take this brush here. And we're just going to take it and we'll just kind of, like we're going to do some edge highlighting and just get on some of these areas. And put some on the red as well, because that will kind of look like it's kind of glowing a bit, even on the edging on the bottom, like what we're doing here. Just get like edge highlight that a little bit. You can even get that little piece there. To simulate that. And that combination of the red and the orange will look pretty good, I think. Turn out good. I think we're doing... The other thing I'm thinking about is maybe we could even do a little bit of dry brush of some orange, but I'm hesitant about that because I haven't done that before. Let's see, how does she look? Oh, of course, now it's on the other camera. Let's see if we can end up getting it. So, end up seeing there, we kind of got the orange on there, kind of shining up from that. And I don't know, dry brushing a little bit of orange onto that. Could that look cool? Could we add a little bit of a tiny bit of glow? I don't know if we want to use this. We could use the lava orange with the Army Painter Mega Set. Let's try it. See what happens. Yeah, this is going to be, you know what? See, it's all, look at that. It's already like, hey. And we'll see how this goes. Just a little bit more. You got to be careful on their paints. If they've been sitting a while and it's hard to push the paint out, it might be clogged at the top because of air. It'll dry out the paint, so you need like a paper clip and clear that blockage. Because the last thing you want to end up doing is really pushing down on this and then boom. Yeah, it gets all over the place. So, are we going to do it? I think we're going to try it. We'll get our little brush here. We'll just get a little bit of water on it. Just get it a tad bit. Prep that, and then we'll just kind of dip this. I'll just kind of get this off of here so we just get a little bit. We'll see. Is that even getting a little bit on there? Yeah, tiny bit. Tiny little glow. Yeah, we're getting a little bit on there. I don't want to go too crazy with it. It's a faint orange. There we go. Especially on that there. I think that's going to come out pretty good. So if we can ever figure out where the camera's at, so you can see on that ledge right in here. Oh, it's got a tiny little bit of orange glow on there, and that's what I wanted. And then the same thing, I just want this. I think that's pretty decent. I think we're getting there. We're doing pretty good. We can get some of the edges on there with this orange. And just kind of a little bit of that glow on there. There we go. And I think we've got our little bit of glow on there, ladies and gentlemen. I think we are good. Okay, I think we're doing good. I think we're doing good. I think we have done good on our lava base. I think that has turned out really well. I'm happy with it. Always room for improvement, that's for sure, as I'm still learning how to paint. So, if you have any tips or tricks or suggestions, put them in the comments. I'd be glad to read them and check those out. So, yeah. Let that sit, and we'll put some of that on that, and the last little bit on this brush. Let those soak, and then I'll clean them up. But I think we did good. I think we did good, aside from a bunch of black paint. So, let's see what we can end up doing. What I want to do is, let's just go ahead and we'll pause that, and we'll take a closer look at our lava base. So there it is. A little titanium blue with some, or titanium white with a little bit of blue for the dry brush on the black lava rock. And then we did a series of dark reds to yellow, well, the orange to yellow. And we did some specks, and then we just finished up with a little bit of dry brushing to kind of, that orange glow that kind of pops up there a little bit. And I would say I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. I like that. And a little bit of orange glow on there. The specks, I don't know. Maybe I got too many specks in there. But I think that'll work. I think I got too many specks. I think I was too liberal with the specks on there. But it's going to be sitting like this, and our Tyranid is going to be sitting on top of it like that. So this will end up, I think it's good. I think we did a good job. And again, you kind of see the glow that we got. We'll do one last turn around on that. Top down view. A little left, a little bit of right. And I think we're good. Alrighty. I like it. I like it. Looks good from being a few feet away. It actually looks really, really nice. I do think I put too many specks, small specks on the black. Lesson learned. We can remember that for next time. So that is what we got going on. So let's go back. And we'll hit the table up. Go back to the studio desk so we can see what's going on here. Boom! There it is. That's what we ended up doing. So in light, I don't know how it looks in that. That is more, the orange and the yellow is kind of blown out on this from what I'm seeing. So, but still, you can still see the orange glow. And yeah, I think that turned out quite well. So yeah, I'm digging this. I'm digging this. So when our Tyranid is sitting on top of this, we're going to have a little bit of orange. We're not going to have a lot, I don't think. So with the Tyranid, we might have to pull out the airbrush. We'll get some of that orange and pop that up, and we'll see how that goes. Let's get some comments. Fallout Boy says, way better than me. Oh, okay. Let's see, what else do we got down here? Oh, there's our Tyranid on the Tyranid cam. It's not the Creality K2 cam, but it's a Tyranid paint cam. So that turned out really well. Thank you for that. Yeah, Fallout, he took off and said goodbye and hope he'll see me again. Swedish Forge is here. Nice job, Steve. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I think it turned out nice. It looks good. Between this and the other Tyranid base, I don't know. This is bigger, and it's not a crackle base, so we have more. It's just not crackled on one level. I think this turned out really, really well. You know, like that's going to be towards the front of the base, and you can see the orange and stuff. So Tyranid, Mr. Tyranid, I think he's going to like his new home. I like that. Okay, so there you have it. We did our little volcanic base, and we finished that up. As you can end up seeing, we also have up over here our Tyranid. He is currently drying after putting, we had like primer on him, and then I went back and we ended up doing some white paint on him. So let me see, can we zoom in a little bit there? Yep, and there's our Tyranid that we got going on. So yeah, he's going to be quite the character. And like I said, with the Tyranid, I was initially thinking of doing him like this, with that color scheme, with kind of the green, and then I thought maybe with the orange coming up and down below, between his legs. Of course, he's going to be like standing because he's a big Tyranid. So the orange glow could look good on the green, and then of course have the black armor. Or we could do something like this. I don't know if I like that much pale, because that's a pretty pale, I don't know. Kind of, I get it. It's good contrast. So I'm not sure. Maybe something like this with a bone color, like a mummy bone color. I think that could look good, and then we could also put in some of the recessed areas where it's kind of got some reds or flesh looking ish type of thing going on. We could do something like that. I think maybe with the Tyranid, it could be good if we ended up taking, because it's going to be this guy here. It's going to be this guy here, and this guy's on a lava base, but we did the crackle on there. But I think we could do like the black armor. We could do the black, and that would be good. And then we could do like a mummy bone on instead of red. And then what we could end up doing is having still have black talons. I think the black is necessary for, kind of doing this guy. You can see we even got the little strands of stuff in the blood on his hands and everything. Yeah, that turned out really good. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Either way, they'll be painted and done, and they'll be off the shelf of shame, and they'll be on to the shelf of paint to show that, yeah, they're actually done. Alrighty. Okay, that's going to end up being it. So you're going to have to like the video. You're going to have to subscribe so you can check out what we do to that guy. Eventually we'll get to that. We'll settle on a color scheme. We'll see how that goes. And we'll throw them up onto our volcanic base, which turned out nice. I like it. And yeah, that's it. That's what we got going on. I think we're done. So anyway, appreciate that. If you want to get in touch with me, of course, you can always like and subscribe to the channel. You can do that. And with that, there is my email address. I always answer my email if you just want to say hi or send me pictures of stuff that you've done that you're really proud of. send them to me. I'll get back with you in like a day or two. I always answer my email. And yeah, we could do that. Oh, we got an alibi. Swedish says, put some resin on the lava. Talking about UV resin to make it shiny. I don't know. What do you all think? Should we put some UV resin on there to make it a little shiny? I'm not sure. That could be something. And then we could leave the rest of the rocks and everything, the main rocks, we could make that a matte varnish on there. So we could do the UV on the lava and just kind of, you're talking about just like going through on like the yellow and the red and kind of draw a line of shiny resin. And then we could cure that, and then we could go over that with, interesting. We could do that. Swedish says, yes, Steve, yes, do it. Yeah, only on the lava, yeah. And I would say, but I don't want it to look like it's got water on top of the lava. You know what I mean? Like clear glass over the top of the lava. So maybe we could just kind of do some stream of like UV resin that we could cure it so it would kind of, I'm kind of feeling that. Maybe we can do that on the next video. We can see what's going on. Anyway, we'll have to give that a shot and we'll see what happens. Worst case scenario, it's still painted, so it's a win-win. So that'll work out. Okay, back to the obligatory outro. If you want to contact me, there's that. People have bought me coffee if you want to do that, but don't. The best thing that you could do is like and subscribe to the channel. That would be the very best thing, and I would appreciate that. Questions, tips, tricks, videos, playlists, whatever it is to make me a better painter, printer, all-around good person, make me a better person, shoot me an email and I'll answer back. I also have my Facebook page, which I've got 11 friends now on Facebook. So we're bursting at the seams. Anyway, if you want to contact me through Messenger, you can do that. But the email is always the best way to get me, because in the past, my Facebook has been shut down because of algorithm glitches and saying offensive words and saying, no, I was reading a news article, and then they don't care because they're all robots. That's the thing. So anyway, besides doing stuff like that, let's see if we can actually take a look at, you know what? We just finished a print. If we go back to here, and not that right there, but if we go to, which one is it? Is it the Logitech Brio? Oh, that is. Oh, I don't, yeah. I finished a print for some paint things. So you know what I could do? I'll go run in there. We'll pull that off the plate and I'll show you, because it's kind of like these here, but I made a few adjustments. So let me go pull that off the plate since it just finished printing, which is nice. After 3 hours and 1 minute, and I'll show you what we ended up making. So since I'm being Mr. Organized here, and I'm getting a variety of paints and racks and all this stuff, what I ended up on this one was making a rack to put on there, and with the we're going to wash that. And instead of regular supports, I use support fins, which have been awesome. Support fins are the way to go. So, and oh, I got a little bit of stringing on there. I have a Polymaker Terra filament, and I've been getting a little bit of stringing on that. But so, for those of you who know, if you have overhangs, your slicing program is going to make some, in fact, it's easier to show you this. So boom, there is our, that. We'll just kind of go around here. And so there is our paint rack. Now I've got some over here, exactly, right here. What? Seriously, Wilson, what are you doing? So you can see this here, and this little thing is kicking out, and that's going to need a support. So usually what you'd end up doing is we've enabled support, and let's say we're going to, that's not the one I wanted. There we go. And this should end up. So this will generate the supports, and we've got tree supports, but the problem is that underneath that little thing that's sticking out there that's supposed to go into the holes in my pegboard are going to end up being all nasty. And then I have to get a sander, I have to go through and do all that. So yeah, tree supports, it just kind of mars up those bottoms on those little hooks there. And so what I found is that if you do a fin support, kind of like instead of letting the machine do it, you make a fin to do that support that is easily broken off. And we'll zoom in here, and you can see just how that looks. And so that's our support fin, and it even kind of narrows in a little bit more. And that prints, I've attached that to the model. And so when the model is done, boom, it automatically has the support fin on there. So you don't need to generate, seriously, Wilson, what am I doing? So for example, on this one, I don't even need to do supports. I'm just going to disable support. I'll slice this plate and boom, there it is. And then that small piece is so easy to take off. And I promise you it is. So just to prove that, we finished up this one here. And this is for our little panel marker paint. So we made this up in Tinkercad. And we've got some more that are going to be along the way. I think I got green, yellow, something else, and you know, whatever. So I've got some panel marker paint, and so I was able to do that. But these things come off great. And matter of fact, let's go back to that other camera on this camera here, and I'll show you how well these come off. So let's make sure we get some good light on the subject. So there you can see how those look, and it's got there's little type spacers, and we actually have some connections that are right in there that are still connected to the model. But the rest of this, look at that. And we got a couple little marks there, but that's something that you can just dig off, and this is going to be the back of the model anyway. But look how nice and clean that is. That is super nice. So you might have to go through and there, our cleanup is done. And this will be able to fit. And the same thing with these here. Yeah, just peels right off. Look at that. Like so. Boom. And there it is. Look at the bottom of those. Besides a little bit of stringing that we got going on, the underside of those, come on, focus, there we go. You can see the underside of those are super clean, super nice, and they fit in the pegboard perfectly. And we got some little tiny marks in there, but And actually, I probably didn't need to add these, but if you have a taller print, then your fins are gonna need some support onto the model. But this is just cool because it is so small that it ends up that those things will come right off. So it's not a big deal. And that's on the back of the model anyway. And then let's say if you're making a product and you really want to hide some of these marks even more, you could put on fuzzy skin on the entirety of the model and boom, you wouldn't be able to see any of it and it would look a little bit nicer. So I need to dial in this because we still got some problems on there. I think I used Anycubic on there for the supports, but heck, that's how it's going to work. So yeah, turned out pretty good. The question, we have a question. The question is from Swedish Forge, will I post the STL file? I can, but the problem is with that pegboard, I don't know if it's standardized with all other pegboards. So what I'll end up doing is I'll take a look and I'll see if I can find, well, I have the listing of where I got it. It's from China, and we'll see how that goes. Make that, oh, so nice. Oh, it's wonderful. Again, we got a number of these. Boom, perfect. But the problem is with the holes on the pegboard and the distance between the holes and how big the holes are and stuff like that, I would have to get with that and find if that is, and I guess I could post the file, so the answer is yes. And if the listing has that, matter of fact, let's pull that up and we'll take a look. What do I want? I want coupon. So we can take a look at that, and we can pull this up. And I've got that panel, I've got fluorescent red, fluorescent green, and fluorescent yellow coming in. So let me see, where is that? The order for that. There was the bag. There it is. Oop, where is it? Where'd it go? No. Is it before? Oh, there it is. So now, what we'll end up doing is we'll take a look. And this is what I ordered. So the question is, can we find, and does it have a picture of the holes? Is that like getting everything in there? No, that's like right there. It's weird because the program has made my windows smaller, which is odd. So we got that. Product information. I think it's got the picture of the holes and the measurements and stuff like that. So there's that. Or was that another one? I think I measured these with a caliper as well. Yeah, metal. Yeah, we got that. Ah, there it is. Yep. So they've got the picture of that. So what I'll end up doing, yes, I will post this, and then I'll go ahead and post this as well. So that way, if somebody else has pegboard, you can reference this picture and to see if what they got going on is indeed the same size that they have. So just do a little there. Okay. Making adjustments. So I'll include this picture when I post the items like the paint racks for the 17 milliliter bottles. I'll post this picture as well, so that way people will be able to say, hey, they can do the measurements on their pegboard. And if it fits, these things fit theirs, then they'll be able to download those. So yeah, I've got a number of items on there. So I can include, if we take a look at this, I'll show you the different items that I've done so far on Tinkercad. And let's go back to the desktop. We'll see how this goes. And so I've got a little shelf that we've got there that uses that type of pegboard. This is a holder for the Hozo ultrasonic cutter that we're going to be reviewing. And then we have, there's a 17 milliliter bottle paint rack that holds 5 paints. And then we've got another one here that ends up holding 10. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have like this one back here that does 6. So I'll have to go through. I don't have the fins on there. So, and I got some with the two fins on, or the 2 connectors on here like that. And we'll see how those go. I think those are holding up pretty good. I think I went overboard on something like this one where it's got so many of those, but I also trimmed the shape of these little hooks that go into the pegboard, so that way you have a little bit more play. The ones that I originally made were just a little bit too tight, and so I had to sand some stuff down. And with the bad overhangs, with using automatic supports, yeah, it really kind of spent too much time doing all that. So yeah, I'll go through. This one will be ready. That one will be ready. This one is ready. And this one was a file from somebody else. And that will go kind of like that. And instead of the Scatus, it was like a Scatus paint accessory. So it'll go like that. I don't know if that's going to work though. I have to do a test one on that. So I probably won't include that, but I'll include these other ones. So at least you could get the 17 milliliter bottles. You could have this one here. So that way it holds these steady bottles, which are kind of like by what? Like 45 by 45 millimeters. So that could come in handy. Oh, and with that, let's just go ahead and we will show my Creality Cloud page. And we'll skip the... So this is the Very Life, and this is where I've got the other files. Testing for top Z distance, paint holder, you know, some Just Art dual tip acrylic markers, paint rack for some Art Deco paints. Some other stuff that I have on there. There's some 17 milliliter paint racks that will line up with Scatus, but they're not for Scatus. So maybe, yeah, maybe I'll go back one of these days and do that. So yeah, just some other stuff on there. All this stuff is free. Paint racks are pretty cool. They look good. Airbrush stands. So all of that stuff is free. So if anybody cares, free STL files from the Varied Life made in Tinkercad. And I'm not a professional modeling type person, so your mileage may vary with all of this. So there is the link in the comment section, so you have that. That is available to you. But yeah, I'll eventually, yeah, I'll post this stuff and we'll do its own little thing. And yeah, I need to dial in my filament. That's what I need to do. Yeah, I need to do a calibration test and fix the filament, since I found the Polymaker Terra PLA, and it's a little bit different than the regular Polymaker filament that I was using, PLA, because it's a 3 kilogram roll, and I wanted 3 kilograms because I didn't want to have to change stuff. So it needs a little bit of tweaking on that. So yeah, that's what we got going on. So anyway, yeah, those support fins are the way to go. If you are making models, and I got this from Slant 3D, so he's the guy that came up with this, that I first saw the video. I'm sure somebody else made one before him. But if he did, kudos to him. And anything that I need that has overhangs for like utility pieces like this, functional items, I'm going to use that support fin like no tomorrow because it's so easy. And the parts look so clean. So, yeah. Okay, so that's going to be it. Hopefully that answers some questions there for you, Swedish, and anybody else, and how we finished our base. Again, I'm digging that on how well that turned out. We got a little bit of that orange glow on there. We might go through and end up doing a little bit of UV resin on there. Maybe, we'll see. Maybe a small thin coat. And then we'll go over that with a varnish, and then the next thing we'll move on to the Tyranid. So we'll do that. Alrighty, back to the obligatory outro. There it is. Again, like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. Thank you for watching. You all are awesome. And tips, tricks, hints, suggestions, videos, playlists, whatever it is to make me a better person, painter, printer type of person, send them to me. Email's right there. And I'd love to see what you're doing. And I guess the last thing I want to say is have fun. Don't wait like me until in your 50s to learn how to have fun and be creative and do something. Do something fun now. Don't wait like I did. So, yeah, that's all I got. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Okay, we'll see you, everybody. Ferrithus. Oh, Ferrithus just got in the alibi. You just made it. I was just about to sign off. We just finished up our volcano base there, and that turned out good. So yeah, it turned out really nice. I think we did a good job on it. So Ferrithus says hello, quick hello before CrossFit. Just fell out of bed, so. Cool. Alrighty. Well, get your CrossFit on. Get fit. Boom. Do that, and yeah, it's pretty good. So, Ferrithus says, "Wow, looks really nice. Love how bright the lava looks." Yeah, it turned out really good. It really turned out nice. Even with a little bit of glow effect with the orange, it turned out well. And that Tyranid, now it's just screaming for the Tyranid to get on there. So yeah, turned out nice. It's gonna be a good one, at least the base anyway. So I like it. Okay, well, Ferrithus, have fun doing your CrossFit. Everybody else, enjoy your life, whether you're getting up from bed or going to bed, or if it's the middle of the day, I don't know, but just have fun. Print, paint, do something, play some games. It's never too soon to play games. So enjoy yourself, and we'll see you on the next video. All right, peace. Good stuff. Alrighty, yes, good night.